we're not going to attempt to get into the rest of the material before we have a chance to really discuss what it means to love ourselves. So I wonder if any of you have any questions about what's been presented so far. And if you do, I'd like to hear them. We want to keep the questions fairly short and to the point because there are a lot of people here. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Bo.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. I have a question that I've been mulling over for a while now, and it's from step three, and it's the stepping into the love communion. And it's the three paragraphs that you have here. It's been such a huge shift and help to me in my own personal work and meditation. And my question is, I'm not sure if this is semantical or how you would see this, but the very first part is just starts with, I can accept myself as I am right now, and I can accept others as they are right now, and I can accept life as it is right now. And I'm very curious to ask why it's not stated as I am accepting myself right now, because the first way it's phrased, it's really open to me how, and I like how it's stated that way because it's acknowledging that sometimes I'm not doing that. But then on the other hand, if I state it as I am accepting myself right now, it has a different energy. And I'm wondering if this is just,
You can do it that way. That's not a problem. You do whatever you find helpful. These are guides. They're meant to point you in the right direction. If you find that you have to change the sentence slightly in order for it to really work for you, you can do that. But let's not get hung up on semantics. Semantics just take us into our frickin' head, and then we don't make any progress. We just run into a frickin' wall. We're all thinking too much and we're not in our hearts. Just read that first sentence for me again, please.
I can accept myself as I am right now.
Okay, now read it the way it makes sense to you.
They both, yeah, no, that makes sense
No,
to me.
just go ahead and do it. Say it in your own words. That's important.
I am accepting myself as I am right now.
Excellent. Okay, we don't need to go any further than that. We don't need to go to the second sentence because unless we do the first one, we will never get to accepting others. So for right now, that's where we want to be. We want to be at self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is humongous. It's not a small thing. We minimize these things because it just seems like a bunch of empty words, but it's not. It's big time. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Thank you for the content. It resonates with me a lot. So in the process of honoring myself and sort of like being a recovering people pleaser, um, being born from a different cultural context, right? So I'm not, I have parents who, as I try to set boundaries, have no idea. Um, what I'm talking about, right? So I come from a very patriarchal culture where, as children, we have to give to our parents. That's how I'm wired. And I've come to a point where, my parents are in their 80s, and it's hard to set boundaries with them because, at the one hand, they're my parents and my acculturation, right, is this sort of like reverence for my parents. So I'm just curious in terms of how do you go about doing that, the boundary setting?
Well, we're going to talk about that in the next part.
Okay.
You're skipping ahead a little
Oh,
bit.
sorry.
It's okay. But the part of that we want to look at right now is how are you accepting yourself? Are you learning to accept yourself? You can look at what your parents expect from you and how it's very different from what you want from yourself. But the bottom line right now is, are you accepting yourself, or are you still trying to please mommy or daddy?
Well, case in point, right? So Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, and my mom called me because because there's always kind of she needs something. And it was a call I had with her on Tuesday. I've been conflicted about it. She didn't even ask me how was my day, how am I doing? She just went straight for the ask. And I reacted to her. I said, Mom, you didn't even ask about my day.
Okay, but you're Beatrice, you're skipping ahead. You're already in the drama. But we
Okay.
need to look at the little kid, Beatrice, the little Beatrice.
Yeah.
Okay. So when mommy triggers little Beatrice, what is your relationship with little Beatrice? Are you seeing that she's upset? Are you bringing love to her? Forget about mommy. Mommy's just triggering you. A lot of people can trigger you, especially your parents. But you need to begin to look at the little kid. What's the little kid
Yeah.
doing when mommy does that? What's the little kid doing?
Yeah.
What's she feeling? Can you put some words to it? What's the little girl feeling when mommy does that?
I feel help. I mean, my little child feels helpless.
Okay,
Um, that I have to do what my mother tells me. But in
there
that
you
instance,
go.
I didn't. I understood the trigger in the conversation, right? I understood that I was triggered. But I think what you're saying is, how does that translate into how do I heal from that? And there's an aspect of going within the inner child to embrace it and to give it that comfort.
Let's stay with the words that you just spoke about feeling helpless. Okay.
Hmm.
That's the you're doing a great job with it because you're speaking the words of the child. I feel helpless. When mommy does that to me, I feel helpless. That's the little child talking.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say to the little child who's feeling helpless? What do you want to, what's the conversation you want to have with her?
It's okay. Well, now I guess for me, it's okay to acknowledge the feeling of being helpless, but I'm not, right? You're not helpless.
No,
I don't know.
no. You see, you're being the adult
Okay.
without the connection to the child. When you recognize that it's the child saying, I feel really helpless when mommy does that. What do you want to say to the child who's feeling really helpless? It's okay is a good start. I can feel it. I can feel, yeah, you feel really overwhelmed or really helpless. Maybe you'll feel pissed or whatever, but mommy's not giving you the love you want. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You get it? It's
Yeah,
not
I
your
get it.
fault.
I get it.
There's nothing wrong with you, little girl, because mommy is acting the way she's acting. I love you, little Beatrice. You are fine as far as I'm concerned. And I'm here with you, and I'm not going to ignore you, even though mommy doesn't even see who you are. I see who you are, little girl.
Yeah,
You get it?
I get it. I
That's
get
where
it.
we're at right now. We're not jumping ahead. We're just trying to develop that connection to ourselves, which is very profound when it becomes a loving connection.
No, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always helpful when we take it apart and really kind of break it down. Anyone else? Anything that I've shared so far that does not make sense to you, or you don't understand how it applies to your life, we don't understand why it's really important, why I'm taking so much time with this stuff. Why am I taking so much time with developing a relationship with the child? Why is that so important?
Paul, it's Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret.
Hi, Paul. The three words you said, conflict-ridden life, is kind of where I feel like I've been sitting for the past, let's say, 15 years with my husband. And, that exercise you just did with Beatrice and you brought her back to the child, I feel like I'm constantly in my head, like adulting myself. So, I'm in this relationship with a man who is not from this country, so similar to Beatrice. And it hasn't been easy, but most recently, what I'm feeling is I'm feeling ignored. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling embarrassed. I'm feeling that if I don't behave the way he wants me to behave, it's going to hurt my son. I feel
Okay,
like
that's enough to work with.
yeah.
So what you're speaking.
Mhm.
I'm feeling ignored. I'm feeling embarrassed. All these words. These are the words of your child.
Mm-hmm. Which is where I do not sit. I do not sit with that feeling of pain.
She needs your love.
Mhm.
Your husband isn't going to give that love to her. I'm sorry to say that. It's just not part of the setup. We don't get love from the outside. He's never going to give it to you.
Never.
So
Mm-mm.
how is that little girl going to get that love?
Well, I think like, okay, I'll divorce him and then find that love.
I mean, you can divorce him, but that's not going to help you develop a relationship with your child.
Right.
You can develop a relationship with your child while you're married. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
standing in the way.
Yeah.
This is about you giving love to yourself or to the little kid. That's where we have to start. If we're not willing to start there, we jump ahead, and we're already in the conflict-ridden terrain.
Uh-huh.
And there are no solutions, once we get there. Once we get into all that reactive behavior, there are no solutions. We have to go back to the beginning. The beginning is mommy may not have given that love to you. Daddy might not have given that love to you. Your husband might not have given that love to you. You fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Are you willing now that you can see this to be the bringer of love up to your own experience?
Yeah. And I tend to, instead of sitting with my inner child and feeling that pain, I tend to clean the house or do the dishes or go for a walk, just like almost as an escape. So,
Well, you can go for a walk, you can clean the dishes, you can do whatever you want, but how about talking to your child while you're doing that?
mhm.
What could you say to her?
um, I would just probably say, that I love her and that I think she's doing a great job and that, this is a difficult situation that I've been in and that, I see her and I understand her pain.
So now I want you to speak to her using you.
Oh, okay. um, um, so you're amazing. You have not chosen an easy path.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Let's slow it down. Slow it down.
Does
I
that feel
feel like you're,
judgmental?
I mean, I may be wrong, but I feel like you're speaking to her as the adult
Yeah.
who doesn't really see her and feel her. So how about something like, I feel your pain. I can see how unhappy you are. Try something like that.
Okay.
I mean, right
feel,
now. Try something
yeah.
like that right now.
I feel your pain. I can see how unhappy you are and how unfulfilled you are, and sometimes how scared you are. Yeah, that feels deeper.
But I'm here right now.
But I'm here right now.
And I love you the way you are.
And I love you just the way you are.
And I'm going to keep being here for you, no matter what's happening out there in the world.
Okay. And I'm going to keep being here for you, no matter what happens outside.
I want to be your friend.
I want to be your friend.
Does it feel a little different to you?
Yeah. Much different, much deeper. I
This
feel
is-
it in
this
my
is
entire
this-
body.
Exactly. This is emotional healing work. Our wounds are mainly emotional. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Paul.